Last orders at the bar, please.
Welcome to Tavern Tales, a curated 5e Dungeons & Dragons adventure set in the tales of the Yawning Portal campaign module by Wizards of the Coast.
Previously on Tavern Tales, we continue down the left-hand path in the White Plume Mountain as our heroes try to avoid traps and pitfalls. Will they succeed?
Come sit down and drink with the enemy, raise a glass and toast to the enemy, and I'm not gonna do this on my own. So come sit down and laugh with the enemy, raise a glass and sing to the enemy, and I'm not gonna do this on my own. So I won't end up being alone, 'cause I won't drink my drink alone. So what about you? One beer or two, I'll drink to you.
So, after a dip in sewer water and an odd form of blow dry, our heroes were confronted by a pile of ghouls, and then a slip and slide room, for want of a better term, right? But they were able to get free of the room through excellent use of Zufus's web spells, which, as they stood, panting and catching their breath on the other side of the door, Thesis complimented Zufus accordingly by saying,
"You're really good at that."
Thank you.
And now let us peek into the adventure itself, where our heroes find themselves in a T intersection. It's a long corridor that is about 30 feet long that opens up into a T intersection with a turn to the left and a turn to the right. The turn to the right goes about 20 feet to your right and then extends off into dim, distant darkness to the left. You casually, carefully make your way forward, checking for traps, looking around, and espy that there doesn't seem to be any traps that you can immediately detect, and the door on that right-hand side, 10, 20 feet away from you, is not locked, but currently closed.
Can we hear anything from the other side of the door?
Why don't you make a perception check?
20 total.
You hear the gurgle of water flowing, for anyone who beat a 12.
Water.
Is anyone thirsty?
No. I don't drink water, so nope. It's not like a choice. Like I would drink beer instead. I just don't drink. You know.
What water are you talking about?
The water that I can hear on the other side of the door.
Water is my safe space, unless it has poison in it.
Why don't you lead the way first?
So you're a water sign?
I think you should likely go through the door first.
If you insist.
I do.
Yeah, Vulcan's gonna try this door.
It opens.
Turns the handle, it gives way, and he swings the door inward to the room.
Thesis is going up and down on her tippy toes to try and see what's in the room unsuccessfully because she's kind of blind in the dark.
Zufus is behind Vulcan, casually bumping him with his shoulder to get him to move forward.
Where are you hitting him? In the wing, or?
How tall are you?
5'10". Where would you hit me?
Yeah, I was thinking that. He's nudging him in the back of the head. He's like, because I'm 6'1".
Okay.
So I'm like stepping a little bit higher on my feet and like going up to nudge him in the head.
Yeah, the wings are definitely in the way as well.
Probably, yeah.
But yeah, okay.
Vulcan just grumbles as he opens the door because he's feeling this Triton nudging him in the back of the head, trying to open this door and get it open faster for whatever reason. And he makes great haste and pushes the door open.
Grabs the door, throws it open, and slides into the room a la Kramer.
Yes.
Okay. Wings unfurl. What?
What is Alec Kramer?
Seinfeld.
Oh.
Yeah. If you're under 30, you might not get that joke. But needless to say, he slides in herky-jerky to greet Jerry. You dimly sense objects to the left and right of you, and you can see a river flowing from the left to the right in front of you. However, there's something weird going on with this river, because it is not in the ground. It is floating in space, flowing from one wall across the room to another wall. And you can see, as you're startled by these 6 large objects, as your dark vision takes hold and you can see in the room a bit better, you see they are in fact 6 kayaks, 3 to a side, resting, leaning up against the wall. That's all you see in this room.
What is it?
They appear to be personal boating devices.
Why would anyone need a boat for that?
As I'm sure you can clearly understand, I did not assemble this room, so the items inside as well as the vertical flowing river is beyond my comprehension.
This is the most esoteric and verbose barbarians of anyone ever. It's beyond. This is beyond my comprehension.
I was gonna say,
Sure,
like,
Unky
you just turn, yeah.
Aaron's static stock barbarian version is always like they're super well read.
Yeah.
He went to university first before discovering that he had a real passion for biting his tongue and destroying people bodily.
Everybody else went to Yale Academy and he went to Yale.
Yeah. He was like, I didn't know how to read until I got there. And then I realized my mistake.
So can we tell if the water goes through the wall? Like it looks like almost like a water tunnel?
There's a hole in the wall. You can actually see carved out holes on both sides. So the entry and exit points, there's a hole in the wall.
Which direction is the water flowing?
From left to right.
Stacey's going to push her way into the room and see what she can see.
Yep.
Are the kayaks individual kayaks or paired?
They are 2-person kayaks, i.e. there's room for 2 people to fit in each one of these kayaks, but as you inspect them, they do not appear to have any paddles.
I feel like me and Zubas together is probably the best choice in a kayak.
I likely do not require a...
No, I do. I do. This is a floating river and I tend to sink. Bottomless bottoms means I can't stay in the river.
A couple of cave fish float through the...
Cool.
I do not float.
This appears to be a very amusing ride. I feel like I have seen this at a child's park before.
How big is the hole coming out of the wall?
Yeah, the water is 3 feet by 3 feet or so. The hole comes out of the top a bit larger, maybe a foot to 2 feet up, maybe a bit more than that. I mean, it's hard to tell. You don't have a measuring tape, and it's big enough that you could probably ride the kayak on top of the water.
Oh, okay.
Part of me just wants to like jump into the water and
Follow the river.
yeah.
So I get that, but you haven't gotten to level 7 by acting impetuously and on your own. So doubtlessly you've lost people before who've acted impetuously.
But we're all individual adventurers.
You are level 7 and you've gotten there on your own, but that doesn't mean you haven't worked with groups before. And people haven't done that sort of thing and resulted in their death. Like, let's go into parts unknown alone without talking to people. You recall dimly the story of one Eldeth Stonehammer who threw herself off a cliff and almost killed the whole party.
But didn't.
But everyone almost died.
Yeah.
I reiterate, I need some help.
Because sinking?
Yeah.
All right, well, you recognize that you don't float, but obviously these fish are swimming through the water.
Yeah, so how it typically works is that she sinks to the bottom of any sort of body of water and then would be like walking along the bottom. Yeah, how it's described in the basically walk through water on the bottom.
Unless you're in a kayak.
Yeah, no, I'll be fine in a kayak.
So are the kayaks up on a ledge?
No, they're just standing on their sides, standing upright. They look like, if you didn't have dark vision or whatnot, it would seem like there were 6 figures or people, because they were standing up.
And there's no other doors or anything like that in this room, just the one we came in?
Nothing else is in this room.
I'm going to go stand in the water.
Yeah, the water pushes you, assuredly, shoving you one way. I mean, you have to make a strength check to avoid not getting, thrown forward, because it's pretty fast flowing water.
All right, Vulcan.
You and I will take a kayak.
Yes. Excellent.
You can sit in the front if you wish. And
Doesn't it require you see where you're going?
I feel as though likely the kayak should go first, with you, Vulcan, in the front, as you will be able to see if there's any darkness, and you can take more hits than we can. And I can trail at the back of the kayak, following you.
Thesis goes and grabs one of the kayaks because it's not very heavy for her.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, all right, Vulcan, let's go.
So what Vulcan's going to do is he's going to hold the kayak in place.
I'll hold it.
I was going to let you get in first.
I'm stronger than you.
I mean, I think we have equal strength.
Fine.
Can you slow that down a sec and just give me more description? Because it definitely
sure.
looked like a little squabble happened here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like there was definitely some pulling and pushing and then like bulging of muscles. Like,
If you wish me to get into the boat first, I will get in first.
No, I see you're trying to be a gentleman. I'll accept it. Thesis rolls up what could be best described as a Jedi robe overcoat because her armor is like underneath and integrated into her skin, and just so it doesn't get wet, and then climbs into. Wait, am I getting in the front or the back? Did we decide?
Wherever you choose to sit is perfectly acceptable with me.
Excellent, the front.
Right in the front.
how do you get in?
I don't know boats, so I assume I like have to like push it down to like pull myself up.
Top of the boat is 6 feet above you.
Oh, it's like a full pull up then to try and get in without capsizing it.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't really have like oars or anything.
While Thesis is debating as to with her hands reached out and holding the boat, and Vulcan holding the boat, and Zuvus deciding to swim behind the boat, make a survival check, everyone.
Uh-oh.
How do we do?
11.
Eh,
6.
eh.
4.
All right, nobody cares. All right, describe for me how you get into.
Oh, no.
Okay, I'm going to pull myself up like full, what I think is the right choice, which is to just like, I'm strong enough to just pull my entire body weight up and belly flop onto it.
All right, make an athletics check with disadvantage.
Not smart. 10.
That is not enough to get into the boat, but not enough by less than, the number to like fall and then end up into the current and get swept away. So you cannot seem to pull yourself up with just a straight chin up without getting your body into the water and then start to be pulled away and then try to pull the boat. And then Vulcan ends up taking a couple of steps forward as well. And you end up getting pulled you end up straight, but then your arms aren't in the right position and you just kind of hang there limply after a moment.
I don't know how to do this. Vulcan, can I step on you?
Yes, you may. And he puts his hands out to act as kind of a...
You're holding the boat.
Okay,
Zubas, can I step on you?
I can hold with one hand.
You could. Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
so he's going to hold with one hand, and then he's going to use his other hand to kind of make a stool or a step for...
Thank you.
Pop Thesis into the boat.
After seeing all of this, how are you going to get into the boat, Vulcan?
Zubas is going to have to hold onto the boat.
I think that's a very good idea.
I make no promises as to what this outcome will be.
Well, hold on tight.
I work on my smile, not my arms.
So yeah, so now...
You're just like,
so
let's
now,
get into this river. We don't know where it's going.
Nope.
We don't know what happens.
So yeah, now Vulcan's going to get into the boat.
And apparently, Zufus is holding the boat.
All right, if you're going to hold the boat, make an athletics check without disadvantage to get into the boat. Not you, Zubus. You're just holding a boat. You're fine.
I mean, I'm -1 to strength.
So it's not a strength thing. It's just holding a boat.
Oh, okay.
As a 12.
12 is enough by exactly the number for you to get into the boat. You don't kick Zubus in the face. Where is all your gear?
On.
In my backpack.
Where's your backpack?
On my back?
But Vulcan is about to get directly in behind you. So where are you putting your gear?
There isn't space between us. I'm gonna wear it in the front.
All right.
I'll switch it around to the front.
Okay.
I just got a backpack.
Where is it?
It will be on my front.
On your back. Be on your back, so because we're really
Where's
close.
your battle axe?
It's also on my back.
How are you going to get into a kayak with a battle axe strapped across your back?
The power of friendship. He's going to use his battle axe as an oar.
Sure.
Uh-oh.
He has a keel. Okay.
It's better than nothing.
Well, what are you doing with your backpack? Your human backpack that helps you get around in human lands backpack. That is not like, I'm going to go do a fish person swim walk backpack.
I have a inflatable waterproof bag I can throw it in that zips closed. I have a waterproof bag.
Paige has slowly reached for a white gem and is passing it over to me now to show that what Paige's character has a waterproof bag that they can put their gear into. And then what are you doing with it?
I'm going to throw it on the front, and I'm going to throw my hands in front of it, kind of like a mummy stance. So that way when I jump into the water, I go head first like a torpedo going through a water slide.
Okay. I don't know if that's how that's going to look, but that can be definitely how you
That's
want
what I'm
it to look.
intending.
For sure. You're wearing armor.
Yes.
So half plate armor, and you're about to go for a swim.
Yes.
So are you going to keep your half plate armor on, or did it go into the bag as well?
It would have gone into the bag as well.
All right, so you've stripped down to the bare essentials. Half plate armor's been removed into the water
Yes.
without even attempting to see what lays beyond or how far this goes or what's happening. The three stalwart adventurers have done the unthinkable and just jumped willy-nilly into this river, as it were. It is very dark. There is no natural light, and it proceeds for hundreds of feet. With the oars, you can steer, but honestly, there isn't room on either side. Where it cuts through, the water picks up a little bit more as it's contained in its environment, and the water itself continues to flow. And I don't know if anybody has any direction sense or anything like that, but it's been flowing west to east, and it continues flowing east until it turns by normal water type ways, go up and over and up and over, and eventually starts flowing north until it turns and it's now flowing west. And you've been moving along for a little bit of time, and Zuvus occasionally pops his head up and says to the kayak, being manhandled with a battle axe as an oar/keel, saying,
Can you see the end yet? Are we there yet?
That's nice. Meanwhile, you've definitely nicked this kayak with your battle axe several times because you're not used to oaring with a battle axe in a kayak for two, let alone being behind. How heavy is your character, Faces?
250 pounds with armor, I assume.
Yeah, you're pretty laden.
We're going down.
This kayak is low in the water.
We're taking on some splashes.
You flow along.
Like, what's under us? Is it just like regular
Rock.
Rock? Okay.
But a lot of the times it's actually just water and then space and then rock.
Right, because it floats.
It floats. All this water is just flowing.
Magical.
Magically flowing water. Indeed, exactly.
Sounds like a trap.
And so let's roll the clock back because you're level 7 heroes. And tell me, Zuvus, what part did you have to play in the River of Blood mass murder case?
I was a witness.
So you were a witness in the River of Blood mass murder case. They finally arrested an individual in the River of Blood mass murder case, Sir Bluto Sans Pite, whom you knew at some point in the past. But you were always relatively certain, as a witness, that Sir Bluto Sans Pite, a nobleman and a knight, you knew him. He was the one who was accused. You bore witness. Sir Bluto was not part of your eyewitness testimony. He was still found guilty, probably due to Triton racism. People didn't trust the fishy people. There's something fishy about that witness, is literally what the prosecution said, right? You're aware that Sir Bluto Sans Pite, a nobleman, was charged and convicted and sentenced to jail for this crime. How did that make you feel?
Guilty because I didn't stop it.
You couldn't stop it, right? There's nothing you could do, did or couldn't, howsoever you wished. So you went to see Sir Bluto Sans Pite in jail. And let's roleplay that scene when your character went to go see Sir Bluto Sans Pite in prison. Cool? Okay. So you descend down into the dungeon in the city, and he is behind locked doors, cages and bars. There's many guards. There's a little stool in his straw-strewn dungeon where he has been residing for however long it's been since the trial and however long it's taken for you to work up courage to go see him. And Sir Bluto Sans Pite is there. You were let in and the guards to say, "You have 5 minutes." He's like a hobgoblin. You approach.
Sir Bluey.
Bluto.
Yeah, nickname Bluey.
Oh, okay. I use his familiar nickname that I have come to call him over the years.
Yeah, Sir Bluey.
Perfect.
Easier to remember.
Well, yeah, it's also like, give me some credence to know you're not getting it wrong, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's intention here. He looks shocked, but he also looks extremely worse for the wear, unclean, unshaven. He had like this big, bushy mustache, like Lanny McDonald style mustache, but now it's covered up by some unkempt additional facial hair that's growing out. He's big, bushy eyebrows. He's a human. He's wearing prison garb.
Who goes there?
It is I, Zuvis.
The Triton, yes, he spoke quite eloquently at my charging.
You should not be here.
Thank you for that. What brings you to my cell on this day?
I wanted to ensure they were treating you properly and see if there's a way that we can reduce your sentence or prove your innocence.
Oh, you would be the only one. No, the 37 murders that I've been charged for, I will keep me under the thumb of the city for the rest of my life. What I would give for my freedom, though, let me tell you, I would give anything.
I wish I could help you gain your freedom. I was a witness at that unfortunate event, and from what I could tell, you were nowhere near it.
I know, but, the way of the world these days, someone has to be held accountable. And that person is me.
How go the races? And he asks some sort of esoteric, small talk question to fill the rest of the 5 minutes of time that helps assuage your guilt or conscience that has provoked you to come down here in the first place at all to speak with this individual you only happen to know through the fact that he was tried for a murder you're pretty sure he didn't commit.
Right.
Okay. Nonetheless, your kayak coasts along in the water as Zuvis relives a memory of going to a dungeon and suddenly explodes into free air. You don't feel the walls, the rock enclosing around you anymore, but the river, of course, is still self-contained in its strange, magical floating nature as you explode through, and I need every single one of you to make initiative checks.
I was expecting this to just continuously put us through the river. That's one of the ways people get trapped.
Starting with the top, how did we do Zuvis?
13.
Faces?
13.
Vulcan?
11.
Oh, that worked out well.
Yeah, you get like initiative something or other?
I get advantage.
And you still only got an 11.
Well,
He rolled no good.
I rolled a 9.
Awesome. The kayak explodes into this room. You can feel it. You can't really see too much yet, but you can make out that it's a larger space. Seems to be that there's other things in it, but a net is thrown over the top of the kayak, and I need to know your armor classes.
15.
15.
Perfect. This net is thrown over the entire kayak and it's pulled free from the river, and you both are caught up in the net itself as it's pulled to the ground. You can see there are 8 humans dressed in scale mail and splint mail and whatnot, seem to be rather rough for the wear, have thrown this net over you and pulled you free from the river. And if any of you recall why I made you make survival checks before, it was because when Thesis got involved in the kayak and the kayak jumped into the water and all these things, there was a ripple and pulse in the river. And of course, that cued these people to know. But nonetheless, none of you are good enough survival to know that that sort of thing happened.
We triggered anything.
Exactly. And to be wary of it. So you explode through, you're thrown to the ground, roughly tied up in this net as part of the surprise round, but no one has detected the Triton behind the boat. So you start to flow through the water, in the water itself. It's kind of stealth through lack of anything when you, with your dark vision, because you have dark vision, can see a more elderly fellow with a big bushy mustache wearing the Sans Pite family crest. It is none other than Sir Bluto Sans Pite you last saw serving out a life sentence for mass murder, whom you believed to be innocent. And 8 figures are hoisting swords to rain blows down upon the entrapped pair of heroes, part of your adventuring team. That was the surprise round. It is now the top of the order for round 2, as Sir Bluto gets to go first on a 14, and he pulls forth the family longsword and levels it at the 2 figures and says,
Only 2? That doesn't seem fitting sport for us, does it, fellows?
And there's a resounding chorus of, no, it's not at all, sir, sort of thing. And that's all he does with his turn. He does not attack you at all, but everyone knows that the 8 human knights, or whatever you want to call these individuals, are definitely about to stick you with short swords and long swords. So we turn to Zuvis and Thesis on a 13.
Zuvis is going to try and gently exit from the water flow and yell out to Sir Bluton and say, Sir Bluey, it is I, Zuvis.
Raise a glass and drink with the enemy. Raise a glass and sing with the enemy. And I'm not gonna do this on my own. And raise a glass and toast to the enemy. Raise a glass and sing to the enemy. And I'm not gonna do this on my own.
This concludes this episode of Tavern Tales, a curated Dungeons & Dragons 5e game set in the Tales of the Yawning Portal adventure module by Wizards of the Coast. Our intro and outro music is the song Tavern Tales by the Bad Billy Band. You can find out more about the Bad Billy Band on iTunes or at www.badbillyband.com, or follow them on Twitter at badbillyband. Thanks for listening. Please feel free to leave us a review on iTunes or find us on Twitter at tavern_tales. We'll be back next week with more of the adventure.